Today we're going to be talking about Snow, which won this massive tournament. I think there was 93 people in this tournament, I think it said, which is kind of crazy. So first, let's look at this winning team. So there was a Snow team that was going around. It looks very similar to this. It has like the 4 ice move Articuno. This is standard. This is nothing new. I want to say that the Ninetales is different, but I actually don't think that's true. I think this is the same Ninetales. This is the same Arcanine. Like, this is a very, very similar team to the one that was doing really well earlier in the format and won a regional. So it's kind of interesting that Snow won this massive tournament. This team is pretty standard. You can find it online. But let's look at the run. They played 2-2-2 here, which I invented, by the way. Just saying. Well, kind of, but that's okay. That's a story for another day. There's a vacuum outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. If you guys can hear that, then sucks to suck. I'm already recording this video later, so gotta get on that grind. Anyways, looks like they lost to... Their only loss there at the tournament was this kind of standard Bolt Balance team. It seems like this one was Booster Calm Mind with the Goldango, with the Mystic Water Urshifu. So this is a clear Amulet POW as well, which I think is interesting. I'm assuming this is probably pretty difficult for the Snow because of the Incineroar, Urshifu, Goldango. Like, all of these pieces except for Bolt and Rilla resist the Snow moves. So it kind of makes it maybe a little bit more difficult. Plus the Urshifu with Mystic Water doing a ton of damage. The Goldango can really just sit in front of your Snow core, and you're kind of reliant on Arcanine to actually deal with that. So that might be why it was a little bit difficult. But yeah, this is the Snow team that won. I want to look at other teams that did well. So in finals, it was up against this kind of like standard Amoonguss Lando Instant. Like, this is pretty normal. Normally, people have win conditions, like either Goldango or something else like that on the team. This one has Landorus. It may not be as effective as other ones, but this team is in finals, so obviously they're doing something right. I think the Shuka Berry and Incineroar is interesting. Shuka Berry, I think it's ground moves that it correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's ground moves that it resists. But this Incineroar has the Flairless Will-O-Wisp, no knockoff, surprisingly. A lot of them have actually been dropping knockoff. But yeah, this is just like a pretty normal team. You got strong pieces like the Rapid Strike Urshifu with Mystic Water. You have the POW, you have the Rilla. Like, this is just a standard team. They probably just played better than a lot of their opponents. It looks like they actually beat a similar Snow team in the round before. But yeah, so this is just pretty standard run. Bramblegast here in the tournament, which I think is kind of funny. But yeah, this is just a standard team. You play better, you win. So if we're looking at this team, this is the P2 Ursa team. This team is very popular right now. The substitute flutter is something that we talked about in my last video. Go watch that one if you haven't watched it already. There is a substitute flutter here. The point being that, like, if they're going to double protect on your flutter, you can set up a sub, then you're surviving a lot more things. I'm sure you can probably calc to survive a Surging Strikes without an obscene amount of investment with that sub. Then you have the Rocky Helmet Amoonguss, you have the Choice Scarf Urshifu. Like, you have pieces that are really good inside and outside of Trick Room. Like, obviously you can run like the Instant Amoonguss P2 Ursa core in Trick Room, but then you can also use like Instant Amoonguss Flutter Ursh or Instant Amoonguss like P2 Flutter Main. Like, there's so much stuff you can do here that gives the team a lot of flexibility. So obviously their only loss was in finals to the Snow team, or not in finals, sorry, in top 4. But like, looking at their run, like, they have really, really good results. Like, they beat this Heatran Screamtail team. This just seems like standard Bolt Balance, Bolt Balance, Bolt Balance, Bolt Balance. Like, they were doing really, really good against the Bolt Balances. And yeah, it just shows the strength of Ursaluna P2, even though Regulation H is over, is still a great team. Yeah, so then we have another Snow team. This one is a little bit different than the Snow team that won the other regional. Like, obviously, this one does not have Blizzard. Instead, Icy Wind. They do not have Helping Hand instead Protect. So they have Moonblast Aurora Veil, which carries over. This one is actually Light Clay with Snow Cloak, Terra Ghost. Snow Warning is the one that summons the snow. So this is probably a team sheet error. I would assume they would have Snow Warning, because, like, why would you have Aurora Veil and no way to set up snow? It just does not make sense. But this is probably team sheet error. But yeah, so this team is just a variation of the other team, the other Snow team. It's just snow, you freeze things, you hit a lot of blizzards. Like, it's just a very consistent team. These teams are all relatively standard. I want to look at this Metagross, because this is interesting. So this is an Assault Vest Metagross. I've seen this on ladder a bit, but it is pretty strong. I mean, obviously they lost to the winner, who was using Snow. They also lost to Tingdozo and Iron Crown. So these are common cores that you probably don't want to be weak against, but you never know what happened in those games. I think this is just an interesting team, like, because of the Metagross. The rest of the team is somewhat standard. I mean, Icy Wind, Taunt, Flutter makes sense. Goggles, Water Incineroar is pretty interesting. Magnet, No Calm Mind, Bolt is pretty interesting. Encore, Ogerpon is interesting. So they have like Metagross and standard pieces, but they have new ways of using these standard pieces, which I think is interesting. Yeah, looking through the rest of top 16, like, this Okidogi here is pretty interesting. Okidogi is pretty cool. I mean, you don't really get to see it all too often. but it's cool. I'm assuming how this team works is you have the Gouging Fire, Okidogi, Tailwind, Ogerpon mode, where you're clicking like Howl, Break a Swipe, like Key Crash is doing damage physically. But then you also have this Iron Crown. Obviously there's no Psychic Terrain, but the thing with Iron Crown is, especially with Life Orb, you actually probably don't need the Psychic Terrain. Like this one has Tachyon Cutter, Air Slash, Psychic. It doesn't even have E-Force. So this Iron Crown is probably just meant to be doing damage and be like doing that damage pretty quick. But yeah, like I just think this is a cool tournament. I mean, obviously we have Metagross, we have Sylveon Bax here with Regieleki. I feel like this team was popular back in Reg F Part 1. I feel like I've seen this before. I don't remember it being like so good, but I mean, apparently this person's doing well with it, so you never know. It's just, this is just cool. Like they have the backs, the Scale Shot, Icicle Spear back, taking advantage of that loaded dice here. Then they have the Misty Terrain Sylveon, which is interesting. If you don't know what Mystery Terrain does, it kind of like stops status conditions, so you're immune to Moongus, which is great. It makes sense why they would have the Citrus Berry on Incineroar, and not something like the Safety Goggles, because you already have that Misty Terrain. Then they have like Hyper Voice, Quick Attack, obviously Quick Attack, because Pixelate is turning to Fairy, same with Hyper Voice. And you have the Regieleki here for speed control. Regieleki, even though it does not have access to booster energy, with a team like this, you can kind of like, you have tools for Fluttermane, you have the Flare Blitz, you have the, this is Terra Dragon. I feel like that's not great into Fluttermane because you don't really have a defensive option, but you have like the Wellspring, you have the Incineroar, you can deal with Fluttermane pretty effectively. Although Fluttermane still might prove to be a problem for this team, but they did beat every Fluttermane they played against, so you never know. Oh, I just exited the tournament. That's no good. But yeah, these are pretty much just the interesting teams in this tournament. I don't think I'm missing any. This one has Grass Ogerpon, Alt Kyle using Grass Ogerpon with Stomping Tantrum, Happy Cudgel. Grass Ogerpon has historically been like pretty okay throughout a lot of these formats. It's interesting how there's no Calm Mind on the Bolt, but it works, I guess. Taunt Instant is something that's been picking up. Basically, the logic is you use like a fast Instant and you're outspeeding the Raging Bolts, and then you can taunt them before they Calm Mind, which gives you tools into the Calm Mind Raging Bolt. They also have Fraygraph here, which is awesome because it blocks the priority moves like E-Speed from Dragonite and like Thunderclap from Thunderclap from Raging Bolt. Yes, it blocks Thunderclap from Raging Bolt. And then obviously you have the POW, like Ice Spinner to remove terrain. Like you have just a strong core of Pokemon that just do strong things. Like you have Urshifu Ogerpon redirection mode. You have an Urshifu Chen POW. This is a very flexible team. Alt Kyle, very consistent player in terms of Limitless tournaments. So this is just a solid team. Oh my gosh, I keep exiting out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this tournament. Let me know if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything. Leave them in the comments. I answer all my comments. Please subscribe. Please subscribe, please. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.